talking since we've been apart.
I'd heard Jackie's album, Jackie Shane Live, which she recorded in Toronto in the 60s. I heard that about 12 years ago, I'd say. And I was just blown away that this music was made in Toronto at that time, you know? And very little was known about her. And it was just, as soon as I heard this album, I wanted to know everything I could about who this was. And we knew that it was a Black trans woman, but she had disappeared immediately after making this album, and nobody knew anything about what happened to her. And so which just intrigued me more. And for years, I would kind of look her up and try to track some information down, and there was nothing. And then in 2016, an album was released, re-releasing all her music. And then that's when the world and I found out that she was alive. So I spent a year trying to get through to her, and finally did. And that began a year of talking with Jackie for, hours and hours and hours, hundreds of hours. We spoke for like 4 or 5 hours every week, once a week. Spoke for 11 hours straight one time. And so, yeah, it just kind of went from there.
I think that we need more stories of joy. And so part of what Michael and I tried to do with this film is to balance out the trauma and the negative things that have happened to her with the fact that she was this incredible performer that was doing these amazing things. And that needs to also be celebrated. It's not just that she's trans. And I think for myself too, it's like, I'm trans, but I'm also a filmmaker. I'm also an entrepreneur. Like, let's look at trans people in a well-rounded way.
Jackie always talked to me about returning to Toronto. She wanted to come back. She regretted leaving in some ways. And she wanted to come back. She wanted to play shows. She wanted to play at Massey Hall. She wanted to play at Pride. And she wanted to have her return here in Toronto. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because she passed away. But I think having her voice and having her music play on the screens in the theaters here gets us somewhere to that dream,
Till I wouldn't have it any other way.